here we are then in 2010, 3 months after winning the championship. Vodafone, McLaren, Mercedes, a whole new set of challenges for you. Why have you opted to do that? Why have you opted to go to a team that is perceived to be built around Lewis Hamilton?
Because I feel that I can make myself part of that team. You know, I wouldn't do it if I didn't think so. I've been with the same team for 7 years now, and I've built a lot of people around me, built the team around me, especially my engineers. I've been with them for 7 years, and it's a real comfort zone. It would be easy for me to say, "Oh, it's comfortable here. I've got a nice comfy pillow and duvet. I'll stay here." And but I don't want to do that. I want to change my environment. It is going to be more difficult because we really don't like change. We struggle with it initially, but I know that, so I'm going to the team very open-minded. And so far, I've spent a few days at the factory at McLaren in Woking, and it's been very good. Been doing a lot of simulator work with my engineers, and it is a very homely environment. And I didn't know what to expect, but it's been great. And they have such a passion for winning. You might not see that on the outside, but trust me, it's there. And I've been with the team for the last 7 years that's really got that passion as well. And people don't think that about McLaren, but they really, really do have the passion to succeed. They're very strict in certain ways in what they do, but it's the way you have to be if you're going to win.
We saw Brawn's competitiveness tailing off in the second half of 2009, and McLaren's climbing up. Is that momentum going to continue?
I hope so. I studied the whole season of McLaren last year, after the year, and they made massive improvements through the year, and the amount of parts they put onto the car in 2009 was immense. There was no other team like it. People will say, did they concentrate too much on 2009? I don't think they did. They've a lot of the parts that we used in 2009 will be carried over to 2010. So I think they did the right thing. And I think 2009, I'm not going to speak for the team, but from my point of view, was a good year for them because they struggled at the start of the year. And I think that made them stronger. It made them realize that they can build this amount of parts to put on the car to improve the car through the year. And maybe we all sometimes need a wake-up call, and that was their wake-up call. So I'm positive they'll be there next year. And for me, every day I'm always thinking about how I can improve myself and the team because I said this yesterday, 70% of athletes or sportsmen that win the World Championship don't succeed the following year. So I've got to try and be positive and think about the 30% that did and work out why they won again. And that's something that I think we never think about going into a season. But I've got the right people around me, and I've spent a few days thinking about that and working on it, and I'm going to be doing that all the way up until the first race.
Okay, we'll get some of your questions in a minute. I just want to ask Jenson, when are you going to have a go in MP425? How's the testing schedule going to work with the two of you?
I'm testing on the 3rd of February.
Valencia is the first one, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first day, I don't know if I should be saying this, but the first day is Pedro is in the car, then Lewis and myself on the 3rd day. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be the strangest day because it's going to be one of the most important days for Formula One in 2010 when we see where people stand, which cars are quick, which cars are competitive. Because when you have the base at the first test, it's a great base to build on. And we had that at Brawn last year, and we need to start the year with a good car. If we don't, we can get there, but it's very difficult to get there for the first race because it's only 1 month away. So we're hoping for a positive test, and there's a lot of work to do before that. I'm in the simulator quite a lot before the first test. And I'm at the factory a lot, so I want to get ready for the first test like it is the first race, because I don't want an excuse when I get to Melbourne alongside Lewis. I want to be ready for the first race, 100%.
You like a smooth car. You have a very smooth driving style. It's been said that without refueling, you've got to look after your tyres because the car starts heavy and gets light towards the end of the race. How do you see the dynamic working out between you two? With a different driving style?
Everyone always says that Lewis is quite aggressive in his style, but when he's got a good car underneath him, I don't think he is. I don't think he is that aggressive. I think he's reasonably smooth. So our car setup will obviously be different, but I don't think it'll be that far away. And we're both good at coping with difficult situations. So I think that with the heavy fuel load, we can change our style slightly, because you're going to be trying to be smooth for the tires, because with that much fuel on board, it's going to damage the tires very quickly. Also the brakes, also yourself. You've got to look after yourself in an hour and 40 race. You've got to try and be relaxed through that whole stint. And it's so important to look after fuel as well, because we get to the first race, we fill the tank up. We don't know, we have an understanding of how much fuel we're going to use for the race, but you never actually know until you're in a race situation. So there's a lot of balancing going on. We'll be doing a lot of work in the simulator and at the test before the first race to make sure that we're ready for the first race, because as you've seen for the last few years, the person that wins the first race normally goes on to win the World Championship, or at least challenge for it.
Especially the person who wins the first 6 races.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't
6 of 7.
Yeah. So it's an important race for us, and I think it's going to be an easy race for people to make mistakes in. They'll arrive thinking they've got a quick car, but if they don't do all the strategy and they don't think about all the scenarios at the first race, they're going to make a mistake, and that's the easiest way to pick up points at the first race, and that's what we'll be aiming to do.
Okay, let's hear from this very knowledgeable crowd. Some questions for the world champion. Simon is here with the microphone. Si, start at one end and work your way back. If you can't get out there, can you?
What? Work your way through the 3 people that put their hand up. Come on, guys.
First of all, congratulations on your championship.
Think of some good ones.
No,
he won't bite.
First of all, congratulations on your championship. Brilliant season. In your own view, who do you think is going to be your main rival next season? This season coming up?
It's a real difficult one. I think you'd have to say there are 4 teams that are going to be quick. It's going to be us. I think the Mercedes-Benz GP team is going to be quick, my old team, and Red Bull, and you can't count out Ferrari. Ferrari have such a great history in Formula One. And out of the drivers in those teams, I personally think that Fernando is going to be very competitive. I don't know how he's going to be going to a new team. Didn't really work for him before, but he's a very quick driver, and if he finds the right environment, he'll be very quick. Massa's an interesting one because he's had such a long time away, and obviously the way that he finished his last race was very tough mentally on him. So I don't know where he's going to stand. Hopefully he'll be back in the game, and I think we all want to see that. At Red Bull, Vettel had the edge over Webber, but I think there'll be a bit of in-house rivalry there, which will be good. And obviously Lewis, Lewis has had 3 years in Formula One, and he's done exceptionally well. So he's going to be a tough rival as well. But before he becomes a rival, he's got to be a good teammate, and we need to work together. He understands that as well. And if we work together, we have so much experience in Formula One, the bad times and the good times, that I think it'll really push us on and help us, because it's not easy out there, and especially 2010, so many good drivers in competitive cars. Michael coming back. I think Michael will be quick straight off. He's not silly. He's not going to arrive and build up to it. He'll be ready for the first race, and we can't forget that.
Okay, let's have some more. Chap in the middle here, Si. Oh.
Do you think it'll be harder with your new race engineer this year compared to what you had at Brawn and Honda?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I've worked with Shove, my engineer, Andrew Shovlin, for 7 years now, and Pete Bonington, who was my data engineer for 4 or 5 years. So it's always a little bit difficult when you change engineers, because you really build up a rapport with your engineer. And even though you can be the best engineer in the world or the best driver in the world, but if you don't understand each other, it's not going to work. I've spent a few days with my new engineers, and it's been really good. We have the help of the simulator, which is they've been working on the simulator for 15 years, and it's as close as you're going to get to a real race car. So I've spent a few days in there with my new engineers, getting to know them, and it's been really positive. So I'm happy. They're really good guys. My main engineer is a guy called Jacob, and he's got a lot of experience in Formula One, but he's also young. He's hungry to succeed. So I have no worries about that for the first race. There's still a lot of work, and a lot of work we need to do with our relationship and getting to know each other. But I'm sure we can be ready for the first race.